Hello guys, Robert1 here, coming at you with a new Yu-Gi-Oh video, along with Charmander in the background as always. And in today's Yu-Gi-Oh video, we are going to be doing the future of Yu-Gi-Oh, a segment on my channel where, well, we talk about decks or archetypes or anything along those lines coming out later in the game. Look at the cards, see how good they're going to be, and basically just discuss them and talk about them and give my thoughts and opinions on them, saying if I think they'll be good or not, and depending on, you know, different scenarios and different effects, I just give my opinion, you know, just all of that nice stuff. And we have got the new deck building set, Grand Creators, with the new archetype, P.U.N.K. And honestly, looking at the art style of the Synchro monster there with the guy on top, I'm gonna guess it's kind of like a cyberpunk themed thing, and I do like the game Cyberpunk, so I'm curious to see how good this archetype actually is, how good it is, what it would do. I can already tell that it's basically just a synchro archetype, but I'm curious to see what the synchro archetype is going to be capable of. So, without further ado, guys, let's actually get into this, go down, see what the cards do, and just read them and see how good they are. So, starting off, we got UK, United Kingdom! The United Kingdom, P.U.N.K. So, UK P.U.N.K, Yugioh P.U.N.K, Sharakusai? I think that's how you pronounce that. Level 3 Psychic Earth Tuner Effect Monster, 1200 attack, 600 defense, and you can only use the first and second effect once per turn, just like majority of different cards. And first effect, you can pay 600 life points, fusion summon one P.U.N.K fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand / or field as fusion material. Wait, that's a synchro. This is a synchro fusion deck? Is this going to be like DDDs where it just has everything? Okay, interesting. It has a fusion effect. I'm actually kind of intrigued. So pay 600, fusion summon. It depends how good the fusion monsters are, but you never know. Second effect, during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can pay 600 life points. Immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon one P.U.N.K synchro monster. So it's got a quickie to be able to just go ahead and synchro during your opponents as well. So, you know what? I see this being really good if we get like emergency teleport back. Just cause level 3 fusion spell for P.U.N.K, synchro during opponent's turn, like this with emergency teleport would actually be really, really strong. Without emergency teleport, I don't really know how good it will be, but you never know, maybe they have their own emergency teleport as well, so we'll have to see what other cards do. But instant synchro, instant fusion, no complaints here. That's actually pretty decent. Second effect, another level 3 as well, so maybe the deck is based around ranks XC Synchro Fusion. We'll have to see though. So Gagaguki Gagaguki. I think I probably pronounced that terribly. I know I said it like 3 times, but hey, P.U.N.K Wagon. Hey, my boy Speedwagon, you know, JoJo's. If you boys know JoJo's. Levels 3 Earth Synchro Tuner Effect Monster. Okay, so it's another tuner monster. Attack 900, defense 600. First effect, you can pay 600 life points, add one P.U.N.K spell from your deck to your hand. Okay, so this is the spell searcher of the deck. A bit weird how it's not pay 600 to search any P.U.N.K card, but maybe the spells you search have searching effects, which kind of makes the deck just built to thin. So I guess that could be one way to look at it. Second effect, when a P.U.N.K monster you control is targeted for an attack or by an opponent's card effect, quick effect, you can draw one card. Again, with these targeting effects, like I know a lot of people who watch me know that how I feel about targeting effects, and this doesn't even negate the effect, it just says you draw a card. So I guess it's alright, because obviously, like, you've got this, where during your opponent's turn, you can just insta-synchro, and if you've got this up as well, you could just go, I don't know, use this, go ahead and draw a card, and then just quick synchro using, like, the Red Dragon Archfiend cards, I guess. I don't really remember if those need just Dark Dragons, or all of them need Dark Monsters to be able to make them, but you could potentially use that, but if you can, it's like, I like, just use something that needs a double synchro tuner, I guess, or something along those lines, but draw one when attack is okay, I guess. By targeted effects, I don't know how often that'll come up, but if it does, you get a free draw from it, so there's no complaining. It's just not an effect that I really like, just because the targets. Like, if it was when your opponent activated a card effect, then sure, but it's not. It's when you target it for an attack or by a card opponent's card effect. So, just how I feel. Okay, next. Jururi Punk Madame Spider. She reminds... Is this supposed... The more I look at this, the more I think it's like the actual spider lady Japanese woman from Cyberpunk. So I'm just like, yeah, Cyberpunk references for me. But interesting. Let's see what else it does. Let's see what it does. So level 3 Earth Synchro Tuna. Are these all tuna monsters? Okay, interesting. 900 attack, 600 defense. You can pay 600 life points, add 1 P.U.N.K trap card from your deck to your hand. Okay, so this one adds traps. Okay. When you activate a P.U.N.K card or a P.U.N.K card effect that targets a card your opponent controls, quick effect, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, halve its attack until the end of this turn. This searches spells and gets a draw. This just halves attack and it has to target. If it didn't have to target, I'll give it more props, but because it has to target, that's just upsetting. Because like you have to target someone think your opponent controls. It means obviously if you've targeted a card they control, then you're going to be guaranteeing that effect to go off. But still, I'd rather be able to just half a Dragoon, if you get what I mean. But okay, so search trap card. So this is basically what this does. Next card, is this a tuna as well? Wow, they're all tuna monsters? How are you synchro summoning in this deck? So, no P.U.N.K Seamin, level 3 Earth Synchro Tuna, Earth Psychic Tuna, not Synchro Tuna. 600 attack, 600 defense. First effect, you can pay 600 life points and 1 P.U.N.K monster from your deck to your hand. This is the Monster Searcher, finally we get to it. So this is what you're probably going to be using a lot of the time to go ahead and search your P.U.N.K, Sharakusai here to go ahead and fusion summon or synchro summon during your opponent's turn. But second effect, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 P.U.N.K monster you control, it gains 600 attack. You know what? This effect is actually better. You know why? Because it does something useful. You gain some additional attack points. Like, sure, it's not the best effect. Being able to gain attack points isn't always the best, but pay 600 to add a P.U.N.K monster, and then just if it's link summoned or something along those lines, just go ahead and give something an additional 600 attack. I'm not gonna lie, that's better than a lot of the other things that I'm seeing here. Like, you got add a trap. Oh, half an attack if your thing's if you targeted a thing. Oh, your thing's targeted by an effect, or you're tagged. You draw a card. Like, I honestly prefer this, even when this says draw a card, because like I don't like the fact that it's when it's like, honestly. If it just said target for attack, I'd be fine. But it's just the fact that it's opponent's card effect. Like, it should have been, or your opponent activates a card effect. Not if your opponent targeted your monster with a card effect. Like, I don't know. That's just my thoughts. I just don't like stuff like that. Anyway, that is a very big monster. Okay, what is this? So this is no P.U.N.K Foxy Toon. Is this actually her? That looks like her. I think the big monsters are probably going to be revolved around the little ones to some degree then. So Foxy Toon, Beast Effect monster, 2300 attack, 2600 defense. You contribute 1 P.U.N.K monster, special summon this card from your hand. Okay, so it's a free special summon essentially, by attributing any of your P.U.N.K monsters. So if you have her, you go ahead and pay 600, add this to your hand, tribute, and just summon this. That's okay. Second effect, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard. Send 1 monster card from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do, so summon 1 level 8 or lower P.U.N.K monster from your deck. You know what? That's actually pretty decent, because if there's more, there's most likely more, or gonna be more P.U.N.K monsters of the level 8 variety, and it doesn't say excluding itself. So what you can literally just do is add this with your lovely thing here, your lovely little seaman. Add this, then send another card from your hand to the graveyard, and just special summon another copy of itself, so you don't have to tribute your lovely level 3 here. So go ahead and synchro summon essentially. So yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Third effect though. Once per turn, when this card destroys a monster in battle, you gain life points equal to the original attack of that monster. You know, that's pretty decent as well. Like, just kill something, gain attack, gain life points. Like, that's never a bad thing. That's never a bad thing. This is actually a pretty good card. Like, it's easy to summon because all your monsters are small and don't really do much. It's easy to get to as well because you can pay 600 here. And it also has an effect that says you can just special summon another copy of itself from the deck without having to tribute the monster you control to summon it. So, not bad. And having that additional effect is pretty nice. So, I like that. I like that a lot. So, what does this fusion do, though? And I can see our lovely Kasaki here. I think that was his name, right? Kasaki? Or am I wrong? Sarakusai, sorry. Sarakusai. So, we've got Sarakusai on here, and this card is called Yugioh P.U.N.K Carp Rising. Okay, he's kind of made a carp there, I see why. 1000 attack, 2600 defense, 2 punk monsters. Okay, first effect, you contribute this fusion summon card, special summon up to 2 level 8 or lower punk monsters with different names from your deck or your hand or deck in defense position. You know what, that's not bad, because it means if you do open Kurosai, then you can just go ahead and fusion summon straight into this, and then just tribute to go ahead and rescue rabbit out 2 of your monsters. So you'll probably be summoning out this, which will go ahead and allow you to, you know, have that big monster to be able to synchro summon. And you can summon out this, which will allow you to pay 600 life points to go ahead and search any punk monster from your deck. So that's not bad. Rescue rabbit effects are kind of nice in decks like this, so okay, not bad. Second effect, if this card used as material for a synchro summon, you can target 1 punk monster you control. It gains this turn, it can attack twice during each battle phase. Not bad, double attacking. So if you do have a way to get another one on the board, you can just go ahead and use this as the synchro material and just attack twice. Not bad at all. And I'm assuming this is the actual boss monster of the deck, because this is like, you got Kurosai on top of him as well. And this is Yugioh P.U.N.K Amazing Dragon. Okay, it's a level 11 synchro, wind, sea serpent, synchro effect monster. Alright, so it goes in theme with this. He makes, this guy makes like the lovely art with his, I don't know, what is that, boom? Like an RBG stick or something? I don't know. And he can create stuff out of it. So it is a 3,000 attack, 2800 defense, 1 tuner plus 1/1 on tuner. So it's a generic synchro monster, pretty decent. First effect, if this card is synchro summoned, you can retarget a number of cards your opponent controls up to the number of level 3 cycle monsters with different names in your graveyard, return them to the hand. You see, what I think this is lacking here, because obviously you have to have the level 3s in the graveyard, and you will have at least one, don't get me wrong, but I feel like this card's biggest issue is that it's weak. It's very weaker, much weaker compared to like Adamancer, Arisen, Dragite, which just excavates the top 5 and just returns stuff to hand. I feel like if this didn't have the effect to target, or it did the excavation thing, or just something along those lines, and just return cards your opponent controls to the hand without having to target them, it'd be a lot better. Because like targeting effects in Yu-Gi-Oh right now are inherently weak, and when I look at this card, I just think, yeah, you can't target a Dragoon, you can't target, like, majority of cards in the game, like, you can't really do much to cards that say you can't target me. So I'm like, okay, how does this card deck out Dragoon? And all I'm seeing right now is like, oh, it negates one thing, you lose. So, you know, I try to compare it to a lot of other things in the game, and when looking at a card that says, oh, yeah, I lose instantly to Dragoon, it doesn't really do much for me, in my opinion. But that's just me. That's just me. Like, let's read the second effect and see if that's any better. Because, like, I'm not saying it's bad having the effect to return tons of different cards to the hand. I'm just saying the targeting isn't that good. It's still a decent card. Don't get me wrong. It's just, as I said, you can't really do much with just 1 or 2 returns with each target a lot of the times. But yeah, target any number of cards, return them to the hand. Not bad. Not bad. Just not as good as I wish it would have been. So, second effect, you can target 1 punk monster in your graveyard, except Yugioh P.U.N.K Amazing Dragon. Special summon. Okay, now that is a good effect. That is a very, very good effect. Because when I'm looking at this, it means that, oh, I can just target a punk monster. I can literally just target the fusion monster that I have here. Go ahead and use it, summon back the fusion monster, have it so it can be used as another synchro material to attack twice again, or if I really wanted to, I could summon back Yugioh here to then later on pay 600 life points or something along those lines. And I'll probably summon this in defense, because obviously it's not fusion anymore, so you can't go ahead and rescue rabbit effect, but having the ability to have a big monster that says, oh, things can attack twice, that's not bad whatsoever. And I do like how this deck revolves around like level 11 synchro monsters, because we haven't really seen that in a long time, and I feel like because of this we're going to see like Star Eater and stuff go up in price, so that's actually kind of nice. But not bad card whatsoever. Now let's see what the spells and traps do, because that's what we're on to now. So this is Gagaku P.U.N.K Wild Piking. Piking? No, picking. Why did I say piking? A pike is like a long stick. I don't even... We're not piking anyone here, we're picking. So yeah, we're Wild Picking. Continuous spell card. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. At the start of the damage step, if your punk monster is battling an opponent's monster, you can destroy that opponent's monster. Okay, that's pretty decent. It's basically an out to anything that says it can't be destroyed, literally just by activating this card, and it's searchable via obviously the Gaguk. This guy up here, the lovely Wagon Man, which searches spell cards, so that's not bad. What's this next effect? So, if this card in its owner's spell and trap card zone is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can activate this effect. For the rest of this turn, punk monsters you control, currently control, cannot be destroyed by battle. Alright, that's pretty decent as well. Like, not gonna lie, this is a pretty decent card. It dies, then you get protection for all your monsters. You attack something, it dies. Obviously, you can only use that effect once per turn, but not bad, not bad. It's not the best deck so far, I'm gonna be honest. Like, this isn't really meta competitive or anything along those lines, but it's a really cool and niche deck, so I'm not gonna lie, it's actually kind of cool. Next card, and another continuous spell as well. So this deck probably revolves around continuous traps and continuous spells. That's kind of cool. First effect, if your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a punk monster, again with the targeting, Konami, please. In your possession, you can target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. Like, sure, if they imperm you or they effect value you, this can happen, but targeting effects aren't always a thing in the game nowadays. Like, your opponent's not always activating an effectable target. Like, they're probably going to be using stuff like Ash Blossom or Ghost Bell or Dragoon, which doesn't target as well. Like, they're going to be using effects that don't target most of the time, so targeting isn't very relevant here. So I get, like, targeting can happen, but these effects aren't going to do anything. Like, it should be if your opponent activates a card effect while you control a punk monster, just destroy a card your opponent controls. Like, I feel like this is something that should have been part of it thing, and Konami should just, realize that targeting in the game isn't as powerful as it used to be. So, yeah, this is just me looking at effects, sees the word targets, and I'm like, okay, so it's not as good as it should be. This is the video right now, isn't it? It's just me complaining about a lot of these cards saying target. But anyway, second effect. If this card is under spell and trap card zone is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can activate this effect. For the rest of this turn, punk monsters you currently control cannot be destroyed, targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Okay, that's pretty good as well. It leaves. It cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. The targeting part is nice as well, which I'm not going to lie about. It's a good thing to have your opponent not be able to target your cards, but at the same time, your opponent's not going to have a lot of effects that target, so you get where I'm going with this, right? And also, so a little thing I have a problem with this is, if destroyed by an opponent's card effect, I feel like these effects are barely ever going to trigger, because the people aren't really using a lot of back row removal that destroy outside of Harpy's Feather Duster and Lightning Storm, which are mainly cards that you play going second, or if you really do main the main back row removal, you're going to be maining stuff like Cosmic Cyclone and maybe one Duster. So I don't really see the great power in a lot of these cards in the fact that it has to be destroyed by your opponent's card effect, because obviously Cosmic Cyclone is just an inherently much better back row removal card. So if your opponent uses Cosmic, then these effects are never going to happen, and that's a bit of a disappointment. But I get where they were going with it. I just feel like it should have been if it was removed by an opponent's card effect instead of just being destroyed. Because if the card was removed by an opponent's card effect, then it would always go off even if they Cosmic Cycloned it. So just something there to food for thought as well. Going on to the traps though, this is a normal trap too, so this is a bit different. And this is Joruri, Punk, Dangerous, Gabu. Normal trap, you can only activate this card's name once per turn. Target one effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects for the rest of this turn. Then, if you control a punk monster, gain life points to the targeted monster's original attack. That's pretty decent. Like, it sure targets, and obviously I've already said multiple times it targets, but this is just a generic trap card that says, oh, I negate. Like, that's actually pretty decent. I think that's okay. That's actually a decent card. It's not a good card because obviously there are a lot of better cards like Impermanence, as I've said already in this video, and stuff like Breakthrough Skill. But like just adding that into the deck, like that's not bad. Just like generic negation for any deck. There is literally nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Next we have Jururi Punk Nashiwari. Surprise. She's opened her face, okay, and she's got a pretty scary face. She's got like a little robot symbol face with an emoji. Normal trap card. Target one face down monster your opponent controls, or if you control a punk monster, you can target one face up monster your opponent controls to destroy it. So you can target one face down card, or you can target one face up card your opponent controls. Okay, so it literally says it's just removal. It's just generic removal. Like target one face down card your opponent controls, kill it. If you control a punk monster, you can target one face up card your opponent controls and kill it. Like this is decent card. This is a decent card. Like honestly, the trap cards here are actually pretty decent. They're just removal. It's just negation, generic negation, and generic removal. There's nothing wrong with this. These are actually pretty decent. Huh. You know what, Konami? You did good on the traps. I'll be honest, you did pretty good on the traps. Like, it's just generic removal and generic negation. It's pretty good. And it looks like they've added Psychic Wielder because it's probably going to be reprinted then from the looks of it. So yeah, it's a reprint in the set. But honestly, guys, looking at this whole archetype, my full opinion, it's not that great. Like, the cards that I think are the best are obviously going to be Shirakusai, and also the lovely Seaman here in the deck with like 3 of this. So you're probably going to be running 3 of her, 3 Seaman, and 3 Shirakusai, along with like maybe 1 of the wagon and 1 of this, just so you have the ability to search your trap cards and you have this ability to search your monsters, but and your spell cards. But honestly, looking at it, I don't really see this deck utilizing a lot of its own cards to be somewhat playable. Like, honestly, the spells aren't that great. Like, looking at this, it's just like, oh, yeah, cool. I kill a monster, which isn't bad. Like, this is a 1 of in the deck, or 2 of, I would say, at best. Because obviously you just attack something, it kills it, it destroys it. One thing I'd actually say about this that could have made it better and made it actually really good is if it said, if Punk monsters, at the start of the damage step, if a Punk monster battled an opponent's monster, you send that card to the graveyard. You don't destroy it, because there's a lot of cards that also say they are undestroyable, such as Dragoon again. Like, it's another reference that says, oh, it can't be destroyed, so how do you get out of it? But looking at the deck in general, I do think Konami had a good idea, a good solid idea for this deck. Like, the trap cards, I really do think are great. Like, honestly, just target an effect monster your opponent controls, negates effects, that's really, really nice. And also just target a face down card your opponent controls and just destroy it. This is just inherent back row destruction, or if you control a Punk monster, it's just face up card as well, so it just can destroy any card in the game. And also, you've also got this, which is just like, has the additional effect to just gain life points to the targeted monster's original attack. So you have ways to actually gain life point resources back. But honestly, looking at the Punk archetype, I do think it's got potential. I think it's interesting. I feel like Konami need to change a few things, make a few more cards for the archetype to, you know, really give it something that would make a lot of sense. As I said, I think the best cards are obviously like maybe the ones that you're going to main are going to be Foxy, P.U.N.K, Seaman, and Kurosai. But the fusion monster, I will admit, is really strong. Like, just fusion someone into this, summon 2 from the deck, really, really good. And also the synchro monster, it may not be as powerful as I wanted it to be. Just return cards to your opponent's hand up to the number of level 3 or lower psychic monsters in your graveyard with different names. But even though it targets, it's still a decent card as well. So the deck does have some potential plays, and I really do like that, how it's making a level 11 archetype really decent, because like we don't really see a lot of level 11 synchro archetypes in the game, and this is actually kind of cool to actually see Konami trying to do something with that. And also the fact that this has just got a Monster Reborn effect built into it, there's nothing wrong with that either. But guys, that is all I have to say about the Punk archetype. It honestly is a pretty interesting archetype with a lot of potential in it. It's really interesting. I do like the artwork. I do like the aspect about how it's like cyberpunk, and I really do like the game cyberpunk, and also like how some people dress in cyberpunk. I'm not gonna lie, I do like the aesthetic of people who dress in cyberpunk and stuff, just like punk in general. But guys, tell me what your thoughts are on the Punk archetype in the comment section below. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Do you think this deck, you know, just completely went out the window? Do you think Konami had like no idea what they were doing in this archetype? I think Konami tried. I think there's some things that should have been changed and should have probably been different to actually make it a somewhat decent archetype in the game. But honestly, it is a really cool archetype nonetheless. But that's what I have to say in this video, guys. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you did enjoy. Check out all the links in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next one. We're all about one, signing out. And your boy likes cyberpunk, and I'm probably going to build it just because it's a cyberpunk deck later on.